their 1,000 hours of experience for licensed appraiser is gained through our program.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
Welcome, everybody. Dustin Harris hanging out once again in the podcast chair. Got a great guest coming up. Can't wait to introduce her. But first, want to remind you that we're sponsored by a couple of great companies. Of course, Spark for Appraisers. You can learn more by going to sparkforappraisers.com. And My Insurance, E&O, specifically, is through OREP, OREP.org. I want to welcome to the program a new friend of mine, Miss Melissa Bond. Melissa, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Derek. Dustin, it's wonderful to be here.
It is wonderful to have you, my friend. Of course, Melissa is a former ASB board member. She's a current NAA board member. She's a continuing education provider, 18 plus years. And Melissa, is this true? You've been an appraiser for 33 years? Come on.
I know, I just don't look it, but
You
absolutely, I have. I have been an appraiser for 33 fabulous years. I love my profession, and
Well,
every day better.
I appreciate you being on today. Your reputation precedes you. I had heard a lot about you before I had an opportunity to meet you in San Antonio. Let's start first with your experience. So 33 years as an appraiser, but you have been providing education to appraisers for 18 plus years. Why the path of education for you? What drew you to that?
Okay, one of the reasons I can tell you is that about 20 years ago, and remember, my state of residence is Mississippi, and Mississippi has a low number of appraisers, but it's an adequate number for our very rural state. Okay, we're under 700 right now. So, and that's of course certified general, certified res. That's the straight across trainees, licensed. The reason my path became education is because it became increasingly difficult to have quality education come to the state of Mississippi. Well, we all know that to put on a class is indeed a costly endeavor.
Sure.
And so of course there has to be the rate of return that the individual company is looking to receive. And we were getting sparse. We were getting very sparse with on-site education, and had to travel to other states too many times. And so I have a background in education. I did teach at the high school for 5 years.
Okay.
Very challenging. Very challenging.
Been there, done that, by the way.
Okay. Well, you know what I mean. And so I decided, let's combine the two. And honestly, Dustin, when I started teaching CE, my philosophy was this: I'm just going to tell you what I do on site. I've been an FHA, VA appraiser on these panels for most of my 33 years. And so I said, you know what, we're just going to talk about what I've done and how successful it's been, how I've been able to respond to underwriters, to clients, to, stakeholders within our profession. And that's how it all began. It was just a small seed of let's get in the same room and share. And it's been overwhelmingly wonderful.
Well, I love that. So you and I were able to sit down, have a little bite to eat at the ACTS conference. And you shared with me that you had created the first in the nation practicum for appraisers, training them to really a pathway to licensing. Talk to us a little bit about that. When I hear practicum, Melissa, I think PAREA, but this was not PAREA.
No, it was not. It was actually the second pathway to licensing that was outlined by the AQB in 2000 and I think 2008.
Wow.
And no one ever developed it. I was the first in the nation to develop the coursework in accordance with that AQB outline. And of course, as we know, individual states can approve that practicum and as well as AQB. But AQB did give the states that authority to oversee the practicum and allow it to be a pathway. It is not PAREA. Of course, we know PAREA came after that. PAREA is a wonderfully education-based pathway to licensing as well. We have three and we need three. We need three.
Okay.
But the practicum is quite different from PAREA.
Okay, let's dig into it a little bit, shall we? So let's start first with the creation. Did you create this alone or with a group, or how did this come about?
Okay, I'm not wearing my cape today. So that means I had some fabulous individuals that assisted me with developing it. And I'd really like to share their names if I may.
Please, absolutely. We would love to do some shout outs here.
Thank you. Mr. Tim Anderson, my big hero in
Love that
Florida.
guy. I just talked to him yesterday. Great guy.
Miss Diana Jacob, my
Love her
big
as well.
hero in Louisiana.
She's so
Miss,
amazing, isn't she?
oh golly.
What a beautiful
I
lady.
just, yes, indeed. When Tim and Diana are in the room, I don't want to say a word. I only want to listen.
Yeah.
Miss Pam Teal in Texas, who is what I call just a USPAP expert's expert.
Mhm.
We have Mr. Craig Morley in
Love
Utah.
Craig. Yeah.
Craig is just as solid as it gets, and he understands valuation to the core.
Yes, he does.
Let's see, let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Pam, Diana, Tim, Craig, Mr. Greg Stevens. Oh my goodness. The gentleman that impressed me the day I met him, and he is the most calming spirit that I've ever seen. He's an expert at anything disciplinary. He's fabulous. All of these wonderful individuals assisted me with the development of the coursework. I took the lead. I did the managerial side of the entire. I did, divvied out the different pieces and parts of USPAT that needed to be developed, the different assignments. So, I did in fact take a high leadership role, but that is not in 1 minute to downplay the fabulous contribution that each one of these amazing individuals did. And the best part about it is they enjoyed it and loved it just as much as I did. We knew that we were putting together something that was going to be lasting in our profession. And that was going to be a huge game changer, not just a small open door, but a broad open door where we've had so many barriers to entry generationally. And you know what I'm talking about with the supervisor training model. It's not that it's broken, it's that we just needed additional pathways for those individuals that didn't have that generational opportunity or didn't have that connection opportunity. The folks that have entered my practicum are just whoever had a high desire to become an appraiser. And it's wonderful to see their faces whenever I say, yes, I'm accepting you, because I get things like 5 years. 5 years I've been looking, 7 years I've been looking. You're an answer to prayer. You are an answer to the rest of my life. I mean, it's so heartwarming. One gentleman at one of our graduations walked up to me and he said, I want you to know how you've changed my wife's life. It's like, wow. So I look at these fabulous people that created this with me, and we get together and we talk about the program. We talk about the aspiring appraisers that are now licensed appraisers, and we just relish in their success.
I've got goosebumps. When we get back, Melissa, I want to have you share a little bit what the program is and how my listeners can become involved. First, want to pause, folks, and remind you that we're sponsored by a couple of great companies. Of course, OREP Insurance. You do have a choice when it comes to E&O, and I know it's not something you think about a lot, folks. Maybe once a year when you'd go to renewal, but next time you go to renewal, I want you to take a peek at OREP. OREP is different. They are a broker, meaning they can take your specific situation and shop it around to specific companies. Check them out on their website by going to orep.org. That's OREP.org. And of course, Spark. Spark will allow you to save time, which of course saves you money when you are a self-employed individual, especially as an appraiser. Check them out, folks. If you want to take the data from here, the data that you choose, it's not a black box. You're still fully in control, but be able to put it into your form filling software. Click of a button, it's Spark. Spark for appraisers. That's Spark, F-O-R, appraisers.com. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. I've got Miss Melissa Bond, my new friend. What's the name of your company? What's the name of the practicum?
Okay, you may want to write this down.
Okay.
Okay.
I got my pen right here.
All right. The name of my company is Melissa Bond LLC.
Ooh,
but
that
the
is
name
tough.
of the name of the practicum is MPAT. Those are our acronym, of course. Mississippi Practical Appraiser Training. Now, I do my practicum is in other states, so
Right.
we have, of course, LPAT. Louisiana. We have WVPAT, West Virginia. I have multiple other states, but those are the ones that I've run thus far.
No
And
IPAT yet for Idaho?
oh, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Getting there. Well, Melissa, welcome back. It's a pleasure to have you on. Let's back up, and I don't mean to keep hitting on PAREA, but that's, I think, what most appraisers are used to. So let's take that as a foundation, as a base. How is your practicum different? Because it is very different.
Okay, it is in fact different. PAREA is extremely education based and a lot of virtual, and they do not have the hands-on, meet on site, okay, with a mentor, with an instructor. That and that alone is what is the huge differing point with my practicum and the PAREA. With this practicum that we have developed, I meet virtually. I meet with my students weekly, and also we meet in person. We do the press the flesh, we measure houses, we sketch them, we do the smell test. Okay.
Yeah, right.
And so that is where we differ. It's a bit of a hybrid between a supervisor training model pathway and the PAREA pathway. And again, designed by the AQB. Folks, they had some forward thinking. We just put it into practice.
What timing wise, talk to us about that. So, and really what I'm getting at here is, let's say, and let's take this from two different approaches. Let's say I'm a potential appraiser. So I want to become a trainee. Answer the question, why would I want to go with this program versus some of the others, including the traditional find a mentor and work with that mentor for a few years. And on the other hand, let's say I'm a certified residential appraiser who wants to educate those coming in. Why would I choose to go through this particular program versus some of the other more traditional forms?
Okay, so let's take the aspiring appraiser first. Why would they want to be trained this way? Because I can tell you this, Dustin, the folks that come out of my practicum have far more education, far more understanding than, and I'm going to say this, and those of you out there, you'll understand. I was probably 10 years into appraising. Most of us were probably 10 years into appraising before we knew some of the concepts that my individuals know.
Wow.
out the gate. Okay, out the gate. So why would they want to come into this? Number one, it's the highest level of education. Number two, it is hands-on. I am available to them 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 5 days a week. 6
Wow.
a.m. to 6 p.m. They call and say, I'm thinking of such and such. 2 seconds later, we're on a Zoom and we're
Wow.
face to face and we're discussing. Okay. Yeah, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. If they call me on a Saturday, I laugh at that phone because they know she's rejuvenating. She won't touch it. Okay. I am a little
Good.
high energy. I am a little passionate about what I do. Folks want that. They want the highest level of learning. They want to be the best. That's one of the reasons. And, I'm just saying that what we have devised works. And why do I know it works? Because I'm looking at the statistics of my folks that are passing that national exam. Bam, first go round.
Hmm.
I'm looking at folks that are saying, I did it. Oh my goodness, I did it. And they are. I'm looking at the ones that have come out of my program that are very successful, that have their own practices. I have some that are now working on their certified general license. I have some that went into hired into bank situations. One is going into the Department of Highways. Um, they're taking various pathways, but it's because they're educated. They already have an edge that you and I didn't have an edge. And I had fabulous supervisors
Hmm.
too, and lots of others of us did too. But this is intense learning. The second part, why would an appraiser out there right now want to choose to be a part of this, which you can, by the way, you can choose to be an instructor within this space. Why would you choose this over supervisor training model? Well, because number one, the program has been laid out. It's very systematic in the way that it's delivered and how it is accepted by the appraiser, and it's digestible. That's the word I want to use. It's very
Okay.
digestible for them, and they can do something with it. So why would you want to be an instructor in this practical appraiser training program? Because you don't have to think it through. That's been done by some wonderful experts, and it works well. So it assists you, arms you with all of the lesson material, everything, all of the timetables, everything, all of the accountability. There's nothing left out, nothing left out. So an appraiser that is an instructor that has always said, I'm looking to branch out in my practice. This is an opportunity for you. Let's get together. Let's talk about it and let's work something out.
Love it. We can't talk about education and certification and licensing without talking about regulations, right? So, briefly, if you don't mind, talk to me about AQB, state boards, any of those. Is this approved? In other words, it sounds to me like it follows the traditional path because you've got a mentor, you've got a trainee, but help clarify just for listeners' sake the regulation side.
Okay, from the regulation side, again, AQB divides this that a state regulatory agency can approve this practicum and the coursework. So that is if any state or licensing jurisdiction that aligns with AQB guidelines for licensing criteria is already accepting of a practicum. No legislative issues to go through, no statutes, no rules, no regs that need to change. Your state's already poised for this. Now, the next part of that is just like each education provider puts a course before that license and jurisdiction for approval. That's exactly how this practicum works. Now, granted, it's a 2,100 page document. Okay.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, that's all. It's only 2,100 pages. Folks, don't email it. It won't work. Okay. Um, but this goes before that license and jurisdiction as well. And at this time, there are 10 states that have already approved this and are getting ready to run
Wow.
this practicum. So a state license and jurisdiction approves the practicum, and then it is off to the races. It's time to make it happen. It's time to bring in all of those aspiring folks that have felt like the door was closed. You open it wide for them, and they appreciate that, and they work hard. This is hard work for the trainee coming in, and they're referred to as students in a practicum. They're not referred to as trainees, although they do go through the process of being registered with the state.
Right.
They do the qualifying education, just like they do in a supervisor pathway. Absolutely no different. Okay, AQB required, but their 1,000 hours of experience for licensed appraiser is gained through our program. The full 1,000 hours is gained through that.
Love it. My friend, thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for putting this together. I can tell you have a passion for teaching, and that shines through, not just here on the podcast, but I'm sure through your teaching as well. If there are aspiring appraisers out there who want to learn more about what you do, if there are appraisers that are looking to help with education and would be willing to take on a trainee, Melissa, how do they get a hold of you?
Okay, well, that's easy. mbond at ceinstructor.com. mbond at ceinstructor.com. And folks, send me an email. We will have the conversation that needs to get things moving. Dustin, if I can leave everyone with one comment that to me encapsulates everything.
Please.
The success of this program truly lies in the hands of those that have completed the program and passed the national licensing exam. You know, an educator can develop, they can educate, they can teach their little lungs out, but it's the individual that received it. It's the individual that took that knowledge and did something with it. And not only did they pass that exam, but as I've said, they are successful. They're successful. You know, it's not easy to be self-employed.
Right.
But they're successful. So the real heroes are definitely those that have made the statistics that show this program works.
Goosebumps, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope lots of people reach out to you. This is very needed in the appraisal world, and I appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you. And I just hats off to everything that you've done over the years, contributing to our profession. And we all just want to see it better and better and better. And we want our peers to be straight out the gate, better than I was. Who wants to look at an appraisal they did 20 years ago?
Not I. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit TheAppraiserCoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.